previously I have
The
won.
season is underway.
Vettel takes the victory.
Lewis Hamilton wins. Stunning.
I love this new Formula One.
He is the master.
He's
Look at that. Button leads the
Yet
Grand
again,
Prix.
Sebastian Vettel.
Round 10, Germany.
Wir dachten niemals, dass es einen anderen geben könnte, aber es gibt einen anderen.
Letztes Jahr hat uns sehr stolz gemacht.
Er ist Weltmeister und endlich nach Hause gekommen, nach Deutschland.
Er ist so jung, aber er weiß, wo er hin will und gibt niemals auf.
Er hat so viele Rennen gewonnen, aber niemals hier.
Es gibt 6 deutsche Fahrer, aber alle Hoffnungen sind bei ihm. Er ist unser Held.
Er ist unser Held.
Er ist unser Held.
Er ist unser Held.
Ich bin nur ein ganz normaler Mensch, aber ich werde mein Bestes geben.
And you can bet your bottom dollar, no matter how much pressure these fans put on Sebastian Vettel, the biggest amount of pressure comes from just one man. His harshest critic, the toughest person of all to impress, himself. Welcome to the 2011 German Grand Prix, live from a rather chilly Nürburgring. Alongside me, David Coulthard and Eddie Jordan, who've picked up points and podiums here over the years. I'll leave you to work out who got what. Eddie Jordan, coming to you first of all. Not great for the suntan here, but this kind of weather does give us great racing, doesn't it? We've seen it already this year.
As you can see, I can never recall wearing a coat at a Grand Prix before. This is unbelievable. This is global cooling at its greatest.
And a coat that's such a lovely, relaxed, calming colour as well, which is also very rare for you. I think even a win here would struggle to warm up Sebastian Vettel, David. They tell us it's 11 degrees. It feels about 11 degrees cooler than that. But actually, Red Bull arrive here, having been beaten in the last race. If that's not inspiration to push on for the second half of the season, what is, I suppose?
Well, he's got two things, of course. One, he wants to win this Grand Prix. Two, it's his home Grand Prix. He's got his family and friends. He would have come here as a young boy. He's still a young man, of course, but he's highly motivated to try and convert this into a home victory.
OK, well, as you can see, the pit lane has just been emptied of fans. They all have to disappear out of here just after the hour, and that's because before too long, the cars will be taken to the pit lane, making their way out to the grid. Lots coming your way between now and the start of the race. But a quick look at the calendar and the races that have brought us here. And today doesn't just represent a chance for Ferrari to get back-to-back wins. It's not just about Red Bull looking to get back to winning ways. Today is also all about the fact that after today we are over halfway through the season. Just 9 races left, including, of course, the inaugural Indian Grand Prix in a few weeks' time. But the drivers aren't thinking about the next few months. They're only thinking about today at the moment. In fact, they're thinking about getting in here to work, getting a cup of tea, and trying desperately to warm up.
You and me are not, you should already know. It's just me, my baby, oh, me, my baby, oh. Back to back and we pack our bags, hit the road. It's just me, my baby, oh, me, my baby, oh. And that's just how we roll, and that's just how we roll, and that's just how we roll, and that's just how we roll.
So the 2008 Formula One World Champion is in the house along with the rest of the drivers, and as we sort of reach the halfway point of the season, perhaps now is a good time to take a long hard look at the standings and actually work out properly where we are looking ahead to the rest of the year. And if we take a look at the way it is looking at the moment, Eddie, 4 race wins from the lead for Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton. What kind of approach do their team need pushing on towards the end of this year?
They have to be super aggressive. They should go with a really tiger policy from here on in. Not that they haven't been before, because, you know, Sebastian has really dominated the first half. They have nothing to lose at this stage in McLaren. McLaren boys, they have to go for every little opportunity they can get.
And we can see Fernando Alonso there sitting third, David. 4 wins, 6 podiums in the final 7 races of 2010. Arguably, he now needs an even stronger end to 2011 if he really wants that title.
Yeah, it is a bit confusing why it seems to be that they come on song middle of the year towards the end of the year. We saw it last season. We can see that off the back of Silverstone. You know, what goes on in the winter phase of the development of the car that doesn't allow them to hit the ground running. But I think what Eddie said is absolutely right. With the strategy for both McLaren and Ferrari has to be super aggressive from now on in if they really stand any chance of winning this championship.
And I guess the same applies to Mark Webber as well. You can see him sitting there second at the moment. And as much as it's good news for him to be second, it's great news for Red Bull, Eddie, that their closest rival for Sebastian Vettel's title is one of their own.
I think I said at Silverstone, forget the Constructors' title. It's over. Now let's look forward to a really exciting Drivers' Championship, because really Red Bull, anyone who dreams about, they've got 2 exceptional drivers, brilliant car, magic setup, unbeatable.
OK, and that is the reason why Eddie thinks the Constructors' Championship is all over. 328 points for Red Bull. They really have had a stunning start to this year. So there you go. That's how things are looking as far as the title's concerned. But what about the grid for today's race? Well, only 3 times in the past 16 seasons has the pole sitter gone on to take the win here. Would that affect the way the drivers approached qualifying yesterday? Not a bit of it. Here's Lee Mackenzie.
Sebastian Vettel has dominated qualifying so far this season, but could he do it in front of his home fans? The other 5 German drivers were also hoping to please their followers, but someone was bound to be disappointed. First German out was Timo Glock, who made his thoughts clear to his Virgin team whilst still driving.
You make my life difficult in the last 2 races. It's just so difficult to drive at the moment.
Paul di Resta has outqualified his teammate 7-3 this season. Yesterday, Suttel was just too quick, but di Resta thinks Force India's policy of putting Nico Hülkenberg in the car on Friday hampered his performance this weekend.
It's Force India's policy. The senior management have taken that decision. We need to deal with it. And as I said yesterday, it was a bit closer, but it's done me damage over the weekend. But I'll need to put my head down and just try and go for it in the race.
Ferrari and Fernando Alonso had been fighting at the front all weekend and looked likely to challenge for pole position. But far from being disappointed, Alonso said he was where he expected to be.
I don't know why you are disappointed with our performance, but I think the practice is practice. The qualifying is when everyone shows the potential.
There was mixed fortunes for McLaren this weekend. Jenson Button had to pull out of his final lap in Q3 and start 7th tomorrow. The former world champion was left wondering where his speed had gone.
Very strange that we can't find the grip out there, so to be down in 7th is very surprising. Also to be, I think it's something like 1.1 seconds behind Lewis, so something's not quite right.
But Lewis had no shortage of speed, and despite his concerns earlier this week that McLaren would never be able to challenge the Red Bulls, he battled hard and ended up just 0.05 of a second off pole in 2nd place.
It was as perfect as I could do it. I don't know how I could make it any more perfect. It was one of the best laps I think I've ever done in the car. Usually in Q3, your first lap is already quite good, and then to go back out again, you kind of go a little bit more beyond the limit and usually go a little bit slower, or you just equal it. But I went 0.4 faster. I don't know where I found their 0.4.
And that left 2, the charging Red Bulls. One German who would love to win his home Grand Prix, and an Australian who has previously tamed the Nürburgring and wouldn't mind spoiling the party again. This time the honours went to Webber, who put in an electrifying lap, leaving Vettel having to settle for 3rd.
I'm not, disappointed. Obviously, we had a tricky day yesterday, and I wasn't, quite happy with the balance. So I think we did a very good job to come back. I was feeling much more comfortable today.
I was very, very happy with my last lap. We spoke about it with the boys. Made a little change across Q2 into Q3, which was certainly the right thing to do. Engineers did a sensational job for me. And the pole is for them because I definitely wouldn't have got it without the adjustments to the car.
So Mark Webber starts at the front of the grid for the third time this year with Hamilton alongside and championship leader Vettel behind. The Ferraris are 4th and 5th with Jenson his lack of speed in 7th. Petrov out-qualified failed at Renault and 5-time Nürburgring winner Schumacher starts 10th. Paul di Resta is 12th with the Williams behind. Sebastian Buemi qualified 16th but moves to the back of the grid after a fuel sample didn't match the one given to the FIA. That means everyone moves forward one place. Karun Chandhok is in for Jarno Trulli for his first Grand Prix this season, and Liuzzi, who should have started last due to a gearbox change, starts in 23rd.
So a difficult day at the office for the two men at the back of the grid, but what an incredible lap by Lewis Hamilton for the first time since Malaysia this year. He is on the front row of the grid. Well done to him, and we're with Martin Whitmarsh, the team principal. So where did that speed come from? Was it just an incredible lap by Lewis, or had you been being a bit cheeky all weekend because you hadn't shown that kind of speed in practice?
No, I think, it was an incredible lap by Lewis, there's no doubt about that. But I think we was growing in confidence during the weekend. I think we were getting the car dialed in, and I think it is about a confidence thing. It's about getting the tyres into the right place, having that confidence to commit. But it's nonetheless...
It was great, wasn't it? What a lap.
Yeah, it was.
Martin, I'm a little bit confused because you don't do that great lap unless you've got a great car below you. In that first sector, especially, Lewis was mighty. So mechanically, if we can ever separate mechanical from aero, the car clearly has a fantastic base. So what is this variation we're seeing race to race?
Well, again, I think it's clear that in terms of slow-speed corners, the car is strong. I think we've lacked a bit in high-speed corners by comparison to our friends in Red Bull. But we've been working hard on that, and I think part of this exhaust blowing phenomena, as you know, is keeping your foot in during the corners, and I think you build in confidence, and I think you saw Lewis yesterday build that confidence, and I'm sure JB will during the course of this race as well.
Martin, if ever you were to describe perfect conditions for McLaren, you've got them today. Can you capitalise on that and win this race?
Well, we can clearly win the race, but we can also get it horribly wrong. That's the issue of these conditions. So there's lots of plus sides. We're not complaining about this. I think it'll be an exciting race. But in a moment we can go horribly wrong and be embarrassed. So we're painfully aware of that as well. But hopefully we'll get it right.
Yes, it stung you in the past, but you can make it work to your advantage today. Very quickly, what is the weather telling you?
Well, the weather is, there is a weather front here, so it is going to be wet at some parts during this race. I suspect it'll be damp for most of it. Right. Whether they're going to get onto the option tyres, I don't know, but I suspect it'll start on the intermediate tyre.
OK, thank you very much. There you go. You saw it at Silverstone, and we saw it in Canada. When it rains in Formula One, it can be very exciting, so that man will be very busy indeed on the pit wall today. Now, what about a man who'll be busy from 19th on the grid? He's one of the German contingent, and apparently he's got some big news for us. Lee.
Well, joining me now is Timo Glock. Timo, I know you've got some good news for us. Just tell us what it is.
Yeah, I just, made it official today on my home Grand Prix that staying with the team for another couple of years and, working for the big project, for the big goal in 2014 in Sochi.
So you're signed to the end of 2014?
I can't comment on that one.
But when we listened to your team radio yesterday, some people might be confused because you didn't sound overly happy. And you did say that the team have made your life quite difficult the last couple of races.
No, you guys just got it wrong. I mean, I had a bit of a funny weekend with my engineers, and I just said as a joke to my engineers, you're making my life difficult. And it was no problem against the team or against the car. We just had, two difficult qualifyings where we just found out that the car is quite difficult to drive in a lot of wind or heavy wind conditions. And I just made a joke to my engineers. That's it, really.
So we didn't get the German humour, but really I'm not getting this German summer. I've gone for a 3-layer strategy today. What is happening?
But how is the weather in England? I don't think it's much better. Huh? Yeah. I don't know. It's really strange. I mean, I can only say I had a Formula 3 race in May 2002 here, end of May, and they had to cancel it because it was snowing. So you never know up here. But I've got my fireproofed underwear already under my jeans because it's just too cold.
And just tell us about what we're expecting this afternoon. Is rain forecast?
Yeah, I think there will some rain still coming, but it's like will be on and off situation. But I think the main problem will be the temperatures to get the tires working. I think is the main problem. But we have to see what we can do, and let's hope for an interesting race.
Timo, great news for you today, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
snow in May. That gives you some kind of idea of the temperatures and the climate that we have here in the Eiffel Forest. Wouldn't surprise any of us, actually, if it started snowing now. It really is that cold. Let's just have a quick chat about that, because when Timo Glock made his announcement on the radio yesterday that the car was difficult to drive and his team were making it difficult for him, which I guess is a tough thing to hear if you're a race engineer, did not sound like he was joking. What's gone on there, guys? Come on.
Well, who wants to answer that one? Is it you or me, Dave? But if I heard it and I was a team boss, I'd call him aside and I'd say, listen, never, ever say things like that, which is on public, out on the radio. You say it inside, keep everything together. We are a family. We will be always greater as a unit, never split and opening up opportunities for people to ridicule us. It was a hopeless comment, in my view.
Difficult to argue with Eddie on that one.
Would the team say to a driver, come on, look, we didn't want that. Let's think of a line to spin here to the media, because that just can't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't say things on the radio that are going to upset. I remember a few years ago at McLaren when we had several pit stops at the British Grand Prix. I made the comment that it was like, I can't remember the comment. What do you call it? Keystone Cops, excuse me. It's like Keystone Cop stuff. So we kept coming in from so many pit stops, and then obviously Ron took me to one side and reminded me that, you know, I'm representing the team and the sponsors and everything, and in that situation it's better to just say nothing. What
happened there is that Ron Dennis scared David Coulthard so much he blanked that moment from his mind. It was very difficult for him to say it again now, actually. But let's talk about a man who's had a difficult start to the year, but has really started turning things around, Fernando Alonso. Believe it or not, he led more laps at Silverstone 2 weeks ago than in the entire rest of this season combined. He's the greatest magician of all, about to pull a rabbit out of the hat this year.
Fernando, is it nice for you, or is it a relief for you to be sitting here as the last winner of a Grand Prix?
Well, it's nice. Obviously, huge effort from the team to recover some of the difficult time we had in this 2011 championship. We were 1.5 seconds behind Red Bull. We were out of the podium in the first couple of races, so to recover that gap and to win the Silverstone Grand Prix was good.
Is it something that we almost all have to accept, that Ferrari do get off to a slow start of the season?
Well, I think last year it was maybe more difficult because it was the first year for me in Ferrari, and 2009 was not great for the team either. So this year I think is different. It's just the wind tunnel problems that we had at the end of winter that slow us a lot in the first couple of races. But it's true that in both occasions, unfortunately, we start losing a lot of points at the beginning of the year. So we need to improve that part of the championship for 2012.
Surely you wouldn't sign for a team that started its championship hopes halfway through the season?
Yeah, of course. We want to fight for the championship every year. We race, and we know that the first half of the season is a key part of the championship. So it's something that for sure we will improve in the next couple of years. And I think in Ferrari, before or later, the success will come, because it's a great team, and they have a huge potential to do well.
Do you think that Sebastian Vettel will win it, or can somebody else take it out of his hands?
At the moment, it's difficult to think that anyone can recover the gap. To be honest and realistic, Sebastian did have a fantastic first half of the season. So now, with the amount of points he has, with a normal second part of the championship, is easy for him. But this is Formula One, so anything can happen.
But what about here at Nürburgring? What are your hopes and aims?
It's true that it's a part of the championship which is very important. Before the August break, we want to have the maximum points available in this July. In Silverstone we did well, and we need the maximum points in the next two races, and we arrived quite optimistic, but you never know.
Well, Ferrari managed to make some magic in Silverstone. I understand that you do card tricks before you drive in a race.
Yeah, on Sunday morning, if I have a new trick or something, I go in the garage with the guys, and I try to play a little bit to make some good atmosphere before the race.
Okay, can you show us any?
We will try. Let's use only 3 cars, because with the 52 maybe it's too difficult.
Yes.
It will be easy. So we have 3 cars, very easy. So we have 2 10 of hearts.
Yeah. Oh.
And we have 1 ace of hearts.
Okay.
So the ace of hearts is here. What happens if I go down with the ace of hearts? It's down. No, it's the 10. Why? Because or in top or in the middle will be the ace.
Yeah.
On the top there is a 10. In the middle, you want to see? It's the 10 as well. So there are too many 10s. Why? The ace of hearts, it was always at the bottom. because logically in the middle and on the top is the 2 10s. Be careful, because on the top sometimes is the ace, and in the middle is the ace. So too many aces now. Too many 10s, too many aces. You think that I'm playing with more than 3 cards? No. 1, 2, 3 cards always.
Yeah.
1 was the 10, 1 was the ace.
Yeah.
I gave you the last opportunity. Which one was the third one?
The 10 of hearts.
The joke.
That's very good.
Thank you.
There you go. He's not just a pretty face, is he? How much would he love to be the joker in the pack today? Just over half an hour to go now until the start of the race, so it's getting very busy in here inside the Ferrari garage. I'm pleased to say Stefano Domenicali's joined us. We're getting all the team bosses today. So, Stefano, you won the race from third a couple of weeks ago. Explain to the people at home how you're aiming to go about winning this race from fourth on the grid with Fernando.
Well, I think that we have fourth on the grid with Fernando and fifth with Felipe. But the conditions today are quite tricky. You know that we don't love too much this kind of temperature.
We
quite
do, though.
tricky.
The fans
I know,
love it.
I know. That's great for the show.
Yeah.
We have seen in Silverstone, for example, when there was quite difficult condition at the beginning, we saw McLaren very, very fast, and also Red Bull a bit better than us. So that's the picture that I have in mind in the last race. Here it seems that another shower should come. We will see.
What sort of time?
For sure, it will be around 2 o'clock, as always.
Okay.
Bearing in mind your magic win in Silverstone, why on earth would Ferrari agree to go back to the Valencia setup in the software?
Oh, first of all, I think it's not a problem of agreeing. I don't know.
You must have agreed.
Oh, I think that, Eddie, no one knows exactly what is the performance with that kind of thing. Everyone is guessing from 1 second to 1/10 to nothing. And then don't forget that the FIA could in any case enforce whatever they want with the TD, and if they have new evidence of something that is different. So this is something behind. This is something that I don't want to hear anyone having in their mind as an excuse. I want the people to work hard. And for me, the best thing that I saw yesterday, for example, during this weekend up to now, I see a car that was quite good in the fast corner. And that was really a very difficult point for us, and that means that we have improved the level of our performance, and then we will see. Not enough, because they're stronger, but let's see.
What's very clear to me is how relaxed Fernando is dealing with the developing of this car during the course of the year. The guy has won a couple of world championships, obviously hungry for more success. Just where does he rate in the overall hierarchy of great drivers that have been in Ferrari? You've been there a long time.
Well, I think that, to be honest, I see him very, very motivated. Of course, he wants to win with us, because he understands that Ferrari means something different. And but you can see that he has the same approach, for example, of Michael. He's living with the team, he's pushing very hard everyone, but in a constructive way. That's, for me, the most important thing.
Okay, Stefano, thank you. We can see Fernando climbing into the car behind us. How much would he love to win here today on the 60th anniversary of Ascari, of course, winning on the Nordschleife for Ferrari? Thank you. Good luck today. Enjoy it. Enjoy the weather. Glad you're undercover there on the pit wall. Right, so Stefano gets a nice seat. He's on the pit wall. He won't be getting rained on, but the fans might be. Not that that bothers them one jot. Round here, they just love their motorsport. Okay, well, it might not be raining at the moment, but in 2007, it wasn't raining at the start of this race, David, and then it just went wild. Just a couple of laps in, you were driving in this, you finished fifth. Talk us through what it was like driving in this. We can see Lewis's visibility just on the next shot, actually.
Well, there we see soon-to-be world champion Jenson Button taking a one-way ticket to the barrier there. Aquaplaning in these sort of conditions is absolutely terrible. Lewis Hamilton there was able to rejoin the race, actually, in that situation. And then we had this scary moment later in the race where we had a car actually striking the recovery vehicle that was in there to try and move these cars away. And in this situation, it's certainly undrivable.
And that's here, actually. It's Liuzzi. You can see coming around there, almost taking out the safety car and then ending up just against the back wheel of the tractor, which is rather nasty. But if you're wondering whether it's as difficult when it isn't raining hard, well, we can tell you that it is. This is a shot from a bit earlier on today. David Coulthard against Mika Häkkinen. What is going on here?
Well, that's confirmation as to why I no longer am racing in Formula One. It seemed like an opportunity. The door was open, and once again, Mika Häkkinen cut me up, and I spun.
Oh, was that team orders, or did you do that of your own
I think
volition?
so. I think Ron Dennis had come out and given an instruction there.
And we were keen to know just how much money David Coulthard could have cost himself and Mercedes in that moment. We spoke to the Mercedes team. We said, just how much are those cars worth? The answer, irreplaceable and priceless. Breathe a sigh of relief. David actually arrived in the pit lane looking very nervous. Right, you can hear it's got very loud at the moment. The cars are making their way out to the grid. The man who is sitting on pole position is Mark Webber. How much would he love to create what happened right here 2 years ago?
It was pole position at the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, and now it's going to be victory for Mark Webber, his first in Formula One.
Yeah! Yes! 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 Yes!
Well, Mark, that 2 years has flown by, hasn't it?
Absolutely, mate. I think to be, remember my first victory here was very, very unique, and lots of things have happened, as you say, in that 2 years.
The 2 times you've had a pole position this year, it hasn't played out the way you would have hoped.
That's right. I think both times, Fernando got a cracking start in Barcelona. Sebastian and I had a similar start. Obviously, I've got the luxury of looking at both of our starts and working if I could do a better job there. So the starts were not too bad in Barcelona and in Silverstone. It's not like I'm sitting there completely nervous. It's like I've got to sing a song on the grid. I'm very, very relaxed, ready to go. Just want to get into it. But I'll have other opportunities, getting that pole position off whoever it is. And poles are tough these days. They always have been. And with the likes of Fernando and Seb, you've got to be really on top of your game to get a fair pole.
Is there an element that your teammate has also had a stack of luck along with some brilliant driving, do you think? Or is that clutching at straws for you?
It's clutching at straws a little bit. He has driven very well, but like you say, it's you make your own, don't you? You make your own luck. So I think that it won't go forever. It goes like this. He's had a great start to the season. Okay, he wins 15 races this year. All of us in the pit lane will say hats off, but you're lying to say Fernando and I wouldn't want to see Seb have a retirement. That's to get back, we need him to have a little bit of misfortune, but it's unlikely it's going to happen because he's a class act and he doesn't make many mistakes. It's when you finish 2 inches off his gearbox in the last race, that's positive.
Well, let's talk then about Silverstone very briefly. At the end of last season, we had quotes from within the team saying we don't win by playing games like Ferrari, we won the title the Red Bull way, meaning no team orders. Can we take it that there's been a change in team policy since then?
I don't think so, mate. I think the situation was because we had the cars very close to each other, very, very at the end of the Grand Prix.
Mark, you need to maintain the gap. Maintain the gap.
Which obviously for me wasn't very good to hear, and I still pushed pretty hard, and I'm still comfortable with that. So Christian and I have had a chat about it. Obviously, he's running the team. That's his position. Obviously, he's paid by Dietrich to run the team in the best way possible.
Can you understand that if you'd hit each other, that would have cost Red Bull points in the Constructors' Championship, and you're still second, and Seb has increased his lead. So in many ways, it was the perfect team result.
It was, yeah, it was. But I think that that's the only downside of having 2 drivers like we saw all last year. Because let's say Turkey, we made contact, 1 car survived, 1 car didn't. That happened. Once every 30 races, if 2 cars hit each other, maybe it's racing, isn't it?
Would you prefer it that way?
Yeah.
Do you think what we saw in Silverstone, and as you've mentioned, your desire not to necessarily follow team orders, to prove that you're a fighter, to prove you still want to be winning races, does that strengthen your position for staying with Red Bull, do you think?
I'm still talking to the team, obviously, about what I do next year. Obviously, there's a huge chance that I continue in Formula One, and if I continue in Formula One, it looks I'm not talking to anyone else.
What's to be discussed, though? Because they know you're a race-winning driver. You know it's the best car in Formula One. Surely that's just, where do I sign, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 wins in 2 races here, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Few points, mate. Yeah, see how we go.
All right, good work. Thanks, mate. So, big day for Mark Webber. Rather loud down here in the pit lane as the cars make their way through. You can see Nick Heidfeld there just running through the pit lane before he goes round and takes his place on the grid. So Mark's on pole today, David. When you've had 4 pole positions and not a single win from any of them, what part of your race do you need to analyse and look at carefully?
Well, I know that Mark has looked at the start performance off the grids, and he hasn't actually made particularly bad starts. There's nothing there in what he's doing that is influencing that. So you've got to rely, of course, on different aspects of the pull away from the engine, the software, the clutch, and it's a shorter run this year than when he raced here in 2009. They've half the distance to the run to the first corner by moving the starting position a lot closer. So in theory, that should mean there's less opportunity, if he did make a bad start, for other cars to capitalise.
Yeah, less opportunity, but still an opportunity to get down Mark's inside, I suppose. You can see the cars running through here, just burning off some fuel. Fernando Alonso rolling down the pit lane there, Eddie. Is Fernando actually Mark's biggest threat here today, do you think?
I think we've heard from Ferrari, this is not ideal conditions for them. Actually, in my opinion, I think Hamilton is the biggest threat. I think he's always aggressive off the line. He's very quick, and he makes the car work in these conditions. For me, I think Hamilton can possibly win this race.
OK, well, that's Nick Heidfeld making his way around there. He starts on this race 11th on the grid. In fact, he actually booted his teammate out of qualifying yesterday, and something going on there, it looks like, in the Mercedes garage. David, shouldn't that car be making its way around to the grid?
Well, they've got a little bit of time, and they've had a chance to wait for information from the other cars out. The rain's actually starting to fall as we speak, so last minute opportunity for them to check this car over, but let's keep an eye on that. OK, that's Nico Rosberg. He was a little bit behind his in front of his teammate, but his best ever grid slot here, Eddie. He starts 6th on the grid today, Nico Rosberg, in the Mercedes car, and it's a big day for them. They call themselves the national German team, don't they?
Well, Nico, you know, he has, for me, demonstrated again he is quicker than Michael, even though they keep talking about who's quicker than that team. But Nico needs to maximise. Look, he needs to finish on the podium sooner or later, and this is an ideal opportunity for him, because from what we're told, there's going to be variable conditions. Nico has to grab a hold of this and really be aggressive in his driving and in his style. He needs to make a big impact.
Nico Rosberg has finally decided he is man enough to go out there and brave the rain, and you saw the raindrops on the camera lens there. David, thank you very much for your company. You can now head off to the commentary box. I'm sure you're going to have an exciting one to commentate on, because the rain is now starting to fall just as the cars make their way to the grid. And talking of the grid, that's where Martin Brundle is for us. And Martin, you must recognise the view from back there.
Just about hear you, Jake. This is pole position, as it used to be. They've moved the whole grid 240 metres forward. They've halved the distance down to the first corner. Eminently sensible, as we said, because the cars used to start in front of this fresh air. And now, at least, that magnificent new grandstand down there can see what's going on at the start of the race. Now, we've got cars coming onto the back of the grid, and they're all doing their bite point fine checks here, getting ready for the start. We're right in the thick of the action. It's absolutely brilliant back here. I'm going to do this again, but what I wanted to do was come and have a chat with some of the drivers on the back of the grid. We haven't been down here for a while. Is Buemi, the man who's absolutely last on the grid. They found an irregularity with his fuel after qualifying, and so he's been penalised with a back of the grid start. In days gone past, I've known cars to be thrown out and sent home. I think it was quite a small discrepancy of one of the many parameters that they check, and the FIA checked these cars ruthlessly, really, and rightly so, after they've qualified and, of course, after the race itself. So we've got all of the mechanics back here, look, from different teams, because the drivers switch off their engines when they get here, and then they're pushed through the pack, a deal that was set up some time ago to make sure that, I mean, Niki Lauda used to be called the Whisperer because he'd cut the engine at the back of the grid and just coast through with no engine noise, terrifying everybody. There then is Felipe Massa making his way through the pack. So 24 cars on the grid. It has been announced that there's a change of climatic conditions from qualifying. Now in Parc Fermé they're allowed to change very little on the cars, but let's take a look, if we can, at what they are allowed to change. And I'll poke around in this car here, which is Buemi's Toro Rosso. You see the brake cooling ducts down there that just come off. They can blank those a little bit more for cooler conditions. Where those fans are in the side pods there, when they're just for standing on the grid, this car is only cooled when it's going through the air. There are no fans on it other than what they put on when the car's stationary. They can blank off the oil and water radiators. They can change the angle of this front wing. And of course, tyre pressures, that's all they can do. So the rear wing, for example, they can't put any other pieces now. They have to run what they used in qualifying yesterday. So the teams have that facility. The problem they've got is how much fuel do they put in the cars for this race, because it's already spitting with rain. What is the race pace going to be? And they don't want to go and carry 10 kilograms of fuel back, 4 laps with the fuel extra. It'll cost them 3-4 tenths of a second per lap to carry that for the whole 60-lap race. We've got Perez then making his way down the grid. Let's see if we can find a driver to talk to. It's all still kicking off here. I had no idea. It's actually quite so exciting back here. And who have we got here? Daniel Ricciardo. We'll see if we can get a word with him in a moment. The Aussie. Normally, this is Dr. Helmut Marko of Red Bull, giving him a bit of a hurry-up message here. Daniel's going to talk to his engineer now. So, of course, he is a young Red Bull driver. They've decided to put him in this car to see how he goes. And we heard Mark Webber earlier on in our programme saying, yeah, well, it's the fastest car and I'm a great driver, but it doesn't say I've signed up with them yet. So, which I found a very interesting comment. Let's have a word with Karun Chandok, and he's just about to head off the grid by the looks of it. Karun, you got 30 seconds. Can you hold on that long?
Yeah, I've got to run to the loo, but okay.
Yeah, good stuff. So they put you in Jarno Trulli's car. You've used up his joker on his spare gearbox. He'll love you for that, won't he?
It's nothing to do with me, mate. I just flicked the paddle.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So how are you feeling? When was the last time you started a Grand Prix?
Silverstone last year, exactly 1 year ago.
And good. How's the track out there? Because obviously still spinning with rain.
Well, it's just started now, just on the last reconnaissance lap, so it's still slicks though, but just no track temperature. It's 20 degrees cooler than qualifying, so it's pretty hideous.
Would you rather, it's just 15 degrees I'm hearing, wouldn't you rather just be bone dry, nice and warm? You don't really need this today, do you?
No, I would have liked a nice, clean, dry race just to get me back into. I've never done a long run on the Pirellis. The longest I've done is 10 laps, so would have been nice to do a normal race, but once again, God's dealt me some tricky cards to play with today, so we'll see.
All right. I think we've taken enough of your time. Thanks for talking to us and good luck. So coming past us then, Rubens Barrichello for Williams Cosworth, just coasting in to his pit position. Let's take a word then with Timo Glock over here. We can butt in and have a quick word. The man who's re-signed until... Timo, how is it?
Oh, it's pretty cold out there, I have to say. Tires are very difficult to get up to temperatures, especially on the fuel load now. We have to see. Nürburgring is every time something special, so you never know.
So you're starting this race. You've just signed a new contract of 2 or 3 years. We don't know for sure, but a number of years anyway, and you must be feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, to announce it here, my home race. And I think it's a clear statement of the team in the last couple of weeks already in terms of signing a deal with McLaren as a technical partner, and now I think we had some positive news, and now it's down to us to work as hard as possible for next year.
Okay, good, because there's lots of GP2 drivers coming along and young guys in the system, so I guess you're looking over your shoulder as well as looking ahead.
Yeah, you never know, but I'm happy with the team. I'm just very happy to stay with them, and now it starts to rain, so I have to talk to my engineer now.
So this is an opportunity, isn't it, rather than a threat for you?
Yeah, I mean, you have to stay on the track, no mistakes, and then you have to hope that the others make some mistakes and gain from that.
Okay, he's going to go talk to his engineer because the game is just changing very quickly. The umbrellas are definitely Kobayashi's car here. I don't know if Kamui is on the grid. He's gone, and let's have a look a little bit further down. We got Hemi Alguersuari here. Let's talk to the Toro Rosso driver. Tom Christensen, he is a steward today for the driver steward for 8 times a Le Mans winner. Any dramas up in the steward's office?
No dramas, but I think everyone now with the weather have to prepare themselves very well.
And
tough track in this weather.
Are you broadcasting on that phone? It's going to be embarrassing if it rings in a minute.
No, not at all. But my wife keeps me up to date.
Oh, excellent stuff. Good to see you, Tom. Talk to you soon. And let's see if we can. There's Hemi Alguersuari. I don't know if we'll get the big go away kind of stare. Hemi, you got a quick word for BBC. So how was it for you on the formation lap? Did you learn anything?
Well, it's very difficult to get front tire temperature, especially because it's very cold and now it's starting to rain. So we will see what we're going to do with the tires.
Now, from these kind of grid positions, you keep steaming through into the top 10 and scoring points. You must fancy a bit more of that today.
Yeah, Today it's a pity because I don't start on the 18th position, so maybe it's not working. But no, we will do our best. I think it's one of those races that you need to stay on the track because the conditions are very difficult.
Okay, are you making any changes much to the car? Is this weather? I mean, what's in your mind right now? What you're feeling the rain coming down? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it will be for intermediates. If it still keeps raining, we will see how the race gets on with the tires, with the weather. Yeah, I think it's a nightmare. No one really knows.
Okay, thanks for that. Well, they don't seem as perturbed by the sprinkling of rain as I thought they would, to be perfectly frank. I don't know if Sergio Perez is anywhere to be seen. I imagine that Perez has gone. Let's head back a little bit then, because we're always talking to the drivers at the front of the grid. Rubens Barrichello's decided to just stay seated in his car. He really doesn't fancy getting wet. He doesn't want his boots to get wet. And like a tinted visor on there, like a semi-tint on his visor. A bit surprised by that in these conditions. And as ever, how's it going, Ruby? Everything good? Good stuff. Good luck. So he's decided he just absolutely does not want to get even the remotest bit wet. And of course, those seats are tailor-made. It's very comfortable. Actually, they nip you just a little bit. If they don't slightly hurt as you sit in them, they're not quite tight enough when you're pulling 5G through the corners. So walking back then down, of course, we've got all the tyres being prepared here for the Sauber. So many tyres available on the grid because they just don't know what they're going to need of that lot. Underneath there, wets in blankets to about 60 degrees. They sort of pre-bake those two. And then the slicks that'll be waiting here. And of course, it's such a critical decision as to what they decide to put on the car for the start of the Grand Prix. That's Kobayashi's car there. We've already talked to the Lotus driver, and I think we're pretty much running out. Let's see if Kovalainen is there. Most of the drivers are off the grid. It's quite bizarre, actually. I thought we might be finding every single driver back here, just patiently waiting. But Jake, I think it's a good time to throw back to you so that I can get up to the commentary box.
Which, of course, is very important. Thanks a lot, Martin. So, Martin, they're braving it without an umbrella on the grid. You can see the fans have got their umbrellas out at the moment. Now, if we just flick back through a few years of Formula One history, there's a great example at this very circuit of the kind of things that you can get right and get wrong. Now, in 2007, we had the same situation as this. Rain in the air, but no rain at the start of the race, Eddie. And they made a big decision at Spiker. They would start on wet tyres in a dry race. Lo and behold, we've already seen the shots of the rain coming down, and they ended up leading a Grand Prix at Spiker. That's the kind of thing that could happen today.
Absolutely. Anything is possible. See those guys at the back of the grid? This is their dream come through, because this gives them an opportunity where anything can happen, and they can come through to win this.
And when Lewis Hamilton knows that he's not far off the pace of the Red Bull, and he's maybe got the making of Mark Webber at the start if he really wants to go for it, how will he be feeling about the rain?
He's liking this because I think still Red Bull are the speed, they are the class act, and he needs all the little bits of things and changes that he can get. And for me, Lewis will be loving this. He's a master of these conditions. He's got great car control. That's why I've gone for him to try and win this one.
OK, well, the Mercedes Grand Prix team might be struggling slightly for pace at the moment. However, McLaren, who use Mercedes engines, aren't, and Martin Whitmarsh there is talking to the boss of the Mercedes engine division, so he'll be very happy to see a car on the front row of the grid here today. And talking of being on the front row of the grid, with less than a tenth of a second between Mark Webber in pole and Lewis Hamilton sitting second, just where was that time won and lost? This you're going to find fascinating, because it's incredible how it swung one way, then the other during their hot laps. Here's what happened in qualifying.
It was an epic battle for pole position. Mark Webber, Red Bull, Renault on the left, Lewis Hamilton, McLaren, Mercedes-Benz on the right-hand side. The only interchangeable parts on these cars are the tyres, but they'll be 0.05 of a second apart at the end of this lap. Heavy braking down into turn one, and Lewis Hamilton is already slightly ahead, and we can see immediately that the front-end grip on the McLaren is better. The difficult turn two, where you have to be careful with the throttle on the top and then floor it as you head downhill into three. Braking, turn in, downshift. Webber locks his left front slightly. Hamilton is still ahead. Turn four is a right-hand kink, a slight lift on the throttle, and then a straight up to 170 miles an hour as we close in on the end of the first sector. and Lewis Hamilton is a tenth of a second faster. Webber gets to work on the middle part of the lap, and he really has this one hooked up, heading down the hill at 180 miles an hour. Mark Webber breaks later into the turn 7 hairpin and suddenly is a few metres ahead, but still we can see the McLaren on the right hand side able to keep a tighter line through the corners. Climbing the hill towards the turn 8 and 9 chicane at 160 miles an hour, and Webber stretches that lead but only by a metre or two. He takes tremendous speed through the exit, moving to the right, a bumpy braking zone into the high-speed chicane of turns 10 and 11, both drivers really challenging the racetrack. But this is the end of the second sector. Webber was 3/10 faster and is now clearly ahead. But Hamilton refuses to give up. 190 miles an hour as they coast towards the end of the lap, bring it to the right-hand side for the uphill braking zone of the turn 13 and 14, slow chicane. Hamilton glances through the curves, clearly faster. It's now neck and neck with one corner to go, turn 15. They spot the braking point perfectly, kiss the apex, move towards the outside of the corner, early on the throttle. But as the finish line comes up, Mark Webber is fractionally ahead. It was a technically brilliant lap from Hamilton. What a lineup for the front of the grid.
Two fantastic laps there, and it means that this man, Fernando Alonso, the best that he could achieve was 4th on the grid. Believe it or not, in that middle sector, Lewis Hamilton was the 4th fastest car. Shows you how powerful he was around the rest of the circuit. Right, let's find out the very latest from the front-running team, Red Bull, and the weather, all those kinds of things. Lee's with Christian Horner. Lee.
Christian, we're used to seeing a Red Bull at the front, a slightly different one, although Mark has been here a couple of times already this year. How is he feeling?
Yeah, good. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic race, I think. Obviously, with a bit of rain in the area as well, it's only going to make life a bit more tense, but it's set to be a really exciting race.
This might be the test for us all at home to see if Mark's leading this race and Sebastian's hunting him down. Will Sebastian be told to maintain the gap?
No, they're free to race. Obviously, we just want to avoid a situation where they might end up, in a situation which might, take a lot of points away from the team. But they're free to race. They know that. And it's both very clear that the objective is to make sure we beat, Lewis and Fernando. They're both going to be very, very quick here. It's not just about our two guys.
Well, we're impressed with your guys, but we're not very impressed with the German summer. What do you know about what's going to happen this afternoon weather-wise?
Well, they say the weather in England's, usually a bit like this, but I understand it's a very nice day there, and we've got a British summer day here. But I think, we've got spotters around the track. We send them into the wind to try and keep an eye on what the weather's doing, because it's so local here. We're quite high, so the weather can change very, very quickly.
Rain this afternoon?
For sure, at some point. It's just a question of when. I don't think you can really rely on the radar, because, you've got to look at the cloud and see what's going on. I don't think the radar's going to have all the answers today.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Yes, rain this afternoon. Try right now, because it's actually raining as we gear up for the start of this race. There's Mark Webber about to climb into his car. We've spoken a lot about Mark throughout the build-up, Eddie. We've hardly spoken, believe it or not, about the current world champion, Sebastian Vettel. Not on the front row for the first time in 14 races. People say he struggles to overtake. A good test of his skills today.
I still think that he's an outstanding racing driver, and I do believe he can overtake given the opportunity. This would be a big test for Mark, because, as you rightly say, he has never really capitalised on those pole positions that he's had. So it's a big test. I'm, cannot wait to see what's going to happen. But I think into the first corner, it will probably be Hamilton, and who knows thereafter.
Yeah, he's got a different helmet almost every week, hasn't he, Sebastian Vettel? You can see him there, settled into the car. Good luck to him today. That's his special German Grand Prix helmet. The fans are here ready to shout and wail as he goes by. They didn't get the pole position that they were hoping for, but perhaps they'll get the win. And look at that, everywhere you go, still plenty of Ferrari outfits on show, but a bit more Red Bull every single year. Right, Eddie, who's going to win this? How is this going to play out? What can we expect from the Nürburgring today?
I think Hamilton has to be and will be massively aggressive. Red Bull less so, and as a result, I'm sure Hamilton will win it.
And Jenson Button starts 7th. He can really push and be aggressive in this one.
He can. He has probably too big a mountain to climb.
OK, it's going to be interesting. Mark Webber is on pole position. Just behind him, of course, Lewis Hamilton, the current world champion, sitting 3rd. And the rain is starting to fall. Isn't this just perfect? I think it might be worth switching to the BBC One HD channel if you've got it. In the company of Martin Brundle and David Coulthard, 24 drivers, 6 of them German, 1 world champion back on home soil. Time for the Nürburgring to live up to its name.